Today we're going to talk about drawing and the importance of drawing. It's the foundation of any type of artwork. And the notion that people cannot draw, that's false. Anybody can draw. Drawing is a basic skill that you learn. Able to draw well, that doesn't mean that you are an artist. A drawing comes out of the head and art comes out of the heart. But it is very important that you learn how to draw. If you're going to speak from your heart, learning all those technical skills. Drawing was always taught in school until the camera come along. Everybody drew because you wanted something, the blacksmith to make something. You would go and you draw a picture, and that's what the blacksmith is going to make. You'd go on vacation, you would draw a sketch of something. So drawing was learned in school by everybody. They stopped teaching it to everybody when the camera was invented. It wasn't really important for everybody to draw, but it's really important for an artist. So in the wood carving world, we would always say that the sharpening is the base of the triangle, or really drawing is more basic to learning to carve. Drawing is really learning how to see. If somebody handed you a flower and they said, write a description of that flower. And so you sit down and you're writing a description of the flower, everything that you're seeing there. And then they take that description and the flower, and then they give it back to you, and they said, I want you to draw that flower. And then after you try to draw the flower, now I want you to write a description on it. That description would be much more detailed because now you would have learned more of the proportions, how many layers, just the basic structure. It's a way of studying what you're going to do, So anything that you're going to carve, you should draw it first because that's a way of studying it. The book that we're going to be studying here is this Betty Edwards, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. I have gone through several of these workbooks, and I work on scratch paper alongside of it. So this is I consider to be the best book out there to learn how to draw. I started teaching drawing, I think I was about 18 years old, 18, 19, just enrolled in Art Originals school. I started going to school, and they recommended me to teach drawing at it was the YMCA, and it was for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. So very basic drawing. But ever since then, I've been trying to look for a good system on how to draw. When I found this book several years ago, more than several years ago, I said, man, this is the technique. It's so precise. Betty Edwards done a beautiful job in taking the 5 basic skills and putting the exercises in place. So I really recommend this. You can buy this book used. Most of the time when you buy it used, there's no markings in it. People buy it and then they never use the book, so they sell it. So the book is like under $20. You can go on Amazon or eBay or wherever you can find it. Get the book. And even if the exercises are filled out, take a piece of paper alongside of it. I want to show you all the tools that are helpful with it. In the back of this book, the last thing she has in here is a picture plane, which is a clear plastic sheet with crosshairs on it. And she calls that the picture plane. And what I do, I teach classes using this book. I have the students buy the book, but I have them use a more rigid plastic. So what I've got here is just a piece of plexiglass, but I've taken, and you can hardly see it, but I've just taken a knife and scratched the plexiglass, that same square in there. Then the frame on the outside, I've just made different frames, different sizes. So you can frame your object. I got frames all the way down to small ones like that. It's kind of neat when you take like you pull a dandelion up in the root, and you put that root right out behind here, and now you're going to draw that, but blow it up. Very interesting how the root and all of that comes off of it. So all different sizes of picture planes. And so that's just construction paper that you're going to cut a square out of. People think when they're starting to use these that that's a crutch, and it is to begin with, but it teaches you how to frame it, and it teaches you how to construct a picture. After you get used to it a few times, then you no longer need that. Good tool to learn, understanding the concept and being able to frame things. Another thing you're going to need, because of the picture plate, a dry erase mark, because you're going to be drawing on plexiglass. You're actually going to hold it up, and you are going to draw on it, and then you want to be able to erase it. So it's a dry erase mark. And then you're going to be using a mirror for like some self-portraits, those kind of things. So a mirror is another tool you're going to need. So just pick up an old mirror. It doesn't have to be that big. And tape, pencil, very basic. Let me show you drawing boards that I've got for class. They're very simple to make, so I'll show you those. The angle that you're drawing on should be the angle that'll be viewed at. If you look at this here is just a base and a board. So what I've got here is a bungee cord in the back that's holding it together, and this board just comes off. So it's very portable. You can move it around any place. But the thing is, you put it on, and it's at this angle, so you're sitting at the table, and it just tilted back just a little bit. But if you turn it around this way, this is another thing I like about it. Put that bungee cord on it, and you can get it so it's almost vertical. Now, the reason why I like that almost vertical is because if you're working on pastel or charcoal, then you want that to fall down without, if it's slanted back, then it's hitting the whole drawing as it's coming down. So this is even slightly tilted forward, but that's okay. And you draw on there, and when your charcoal or your pastel is crumbling off, it lands here. It doesn't hit your drawing as it's going down. Easily made. This is just a board, and I drilled a hole in the top, one in the bottom too for the bungee cord, and then I just have a base with two boards in there, and there's a little slant in there for holding it on that angle. Then the bungee cord holds it stable. So if you're doing outside, let's say you're on a picnic table, you might want to clamp that front edge down so the wind doesn't tip it over on you. Other than that, it's very stable. So that's a nice drawing board, nice little size. This is just doesn't have a stand to it, just another drawing board. This one has this T-square, has the triangles on it, but I just like it for doing sketching. But if I got to do more of a mechanical drawing, it's also nice for that. So it's nice and compact. This is a bigger one. I've got a bunch of these for students. This is just two pieces of plywood right here that are hinged together, and I've got a little lip on the front right here. So that lip, you can carry it. It's like the holder to carry it on. Also to catch your pencil and all that. So what I have in the back here is a board that raises up, and there's different notches here, so you can put it at different levels. So like that. That makes a nice drawing board, and it's got that lip on here that you can put your pencils, erase. When I go someplace, I'm always drawing. I've got books filled. That's of the great-granddaughter, one of the great-granddaughters, another great-granddaughter. Then I just kind of draw a lot of other stuff. So When I go places, I just draw. And I love drawing the ocean, love drawing ships. You don't have to finish the drawing. Here's one in Lucerne, France. This one's in Mexico. This one is, yeah, this was Austria here. This, I believe, is also Austria. This is the signature here of the guy that owns this wood carving shop in Oberammergau. So I really liked his work, and I drew his shop and asked him to sign the back of it. This is a home in Oberammergau where they have the barn in the back with the animals, and they live up in the front. An aqueduct, this is down in Mexico, is a quiet pool. I like to draw around that quiet pool. I love fountains. Just every place I go. I also do a lot of studying. So this is a study with balance. I did a couple of studies in balance. Here's another study in balance here. And then here's one in rhythm. So just kind of the human form in a rhythm. Drawing is so important to working out your ideas. I also draw a lot of cartoons. That's a nurse that was at our shelter when I was out on deployed. And this is another one on rhythm here. Very neat to work out ideas like that. One of the things that we do when we were young kids, we would draw and say, draw a house. Well, then we always would draw the house the same way. Whenever they said, draw a house, here it is. You draw a tree, you always draw the tree the same way. You draw an eye, you draw a face, you draw a person, and you drew it all the same way. And then we get to be about maybe second grade or so, or third grade, and we start realizing this doesn't really look like a house. It doesn't really look like that person. So then we stop drawing because we don't know how to make it look like that person. One of the things that we have to do is we have to get out of that memorization mode. When you are drawing an eye, everybody's eye is different. You can't draw that eye the way you were when you were a kid. So how you start doing that, getting rid of the memorization, is you take and you draw it upside down. Because what happens when you're drawing it upside down is the left side, the brain, the logical side, wants to take over. If it's on the right side up, then it's going to say, oh, okay, I got to make this line there, and it'll keep you on the left side, the brain. And when you're doing that, you're going to do your memorization. You're going to say, yeah, I know how to draw that, and you'll draw it the way you did when you were a kid. If you draw it upside down, then what it's going to do is your left side, the brain, is going to give up, and it'll turn it over to the right side, the brain. So the first thing you're going to do on this here leg, and I'm going to start off here, coming around here, and I'm looking at how far I'm down under here, and that is this side of the leg here that I just did. And then I'm going to come around this side. And I guess I did forget that little knee there. Like you say, you can't talk when you're doing this. So those are some of the exercises that she starts out with in the book. First, I recommend you buy the book. Maybe you've got a little drawing table like I just showed you some over there. Commercial comes on TV. Well, then just go and do a little drawing then. Maybe have a banana or something sitting there in front of you so you can draw that. Yeah, here's like a banana. So you can use colored pencil. That's good too. And you can do some amazing things. Strawberries, watermelons. Unfortunately, I eat the snacks after I draw them. Put anything in front of you. Take off your shoes. Set your shoe there in front of you and draw your shoe. And you don't have to complete the whole thing during the one commercial. You don't just, maybe in the night after the commercials go on, and then when the movie comes back on, watch it. But, you know, it's that practice drawing that's going to train you on how to see. And being able to see is a primary thing that an artist needs to do.